In the Rice Lake retreat, you mentioned that one can listen to the left side sound for practice. Baba Sawan Singh has mentioned categorically that by left side sound is from KAAL, negative power, and not to pay any attention to it. In Spiritual Gems and Dawn of Light, could you please explain this and elaborate on it to clear our confusion? And the second part, also, while practicing on the physical sound, there is a possibility of developing tinnitus, a medical condition. Can you please advise as to how to avoid tinnitus while trying to get to the real sound?
You read the second side also. I see it all on one side. Okay, let me read it. In Rice Lake Retreat, you mention that the one can listen to the left side as for practice. Baba Sawan Singh has mentioned categorically that the left side sound is from KAAL, negative power, and not to pay any attention to it. In Spiritual Gems and Dawn of Light, can you please explain his and elaborate on it to clear our confusion? Also, while practicing on the physical sound, there is a possibility of developing tinnitus, medical condition. Can you please advise as to how to avoid tinnitus while trying to get to the real sound? Good question, very practical question, and a lot of people have asked me about this. What is the sound that we want to hear? What has sound to do with meditation? We want to put our attention on third eye center. What has sound to do with it? I hinted yesterday that everything is sound right up to the top. I talked of spoken sound, Varanatmak Shabd, and the musical sound, Dhunatmak Shabd, the higher sound, which is no beginning, no end. They call it by the Om sound, which is Anhad Shabd. There's real Sar Shabd, which is the soul, and Sat Shabd, which is totality. It's all called sound or word. Why is that? Reason is simple. The self is consciousness and wants to be conscious of things, which is called experience. Can the self experience itself? Or does it have to have something around it? Is there something happening within the self at any level where it can experience itself with no creation outside of itself? Yes, it can. It can't be described how that experience is above the mind. It's indescribable. To experience the self as a self is indescribable in any language that I know of. But below that, it can be expressed as sound. In the physical plane where we operate and where the instructions are given to us, it appears as genuine sound coming from the self, not from anywhere else. Sounds come from all over. We hear other people talk, we hear music, we hear so on. All sounds coming from outside. We have ears to hear. There's sound within the body that we keep on happening. We can hear our own heartbeat sometimes. We can hear our breathing. We can hear blood flowing if you're in deep meditation or in deep yoga positions. So many sounds can be heard which can be explained as physical sounds. But there is a sound that is not physical, but comes from the self. The awakened self that creates a physical world emanates a sound. And that's the sound. If you happen to listen to that sound, and who listens? The self. The self listens to its own sound, and that brings your attention faster to itself. That sound comes from where you are. It comes from the third eye center, where you are sitting in the wakeful state, where you start your meditation. When you meditate, if you concentrate there, sound will come from within yourself, not from the side, not left, right, up or down. It will be within yourself. Sometimes it will look like it's coming from above, below, like this, but mostly it will be exactly where you are. It will be like a surround sound that is all around you. The closer you get to yourself, the greater the sound will be. And for easy recognition, you will also know in the beginning, the sound will be like a big bell. A big bell when you hear a church, that's why they put up the big bells in the temples, churches, all bells are rung everywhere. It is a copy, it's an indication of the real sound coming from the self inside. And it's sound which can be heard. That is why They say our consciousness is audible live stream. Audible means it can be heard. So we hear the sound from within ourselves, no connection with left, right, or anywhere. Then where is the question of hearing from the left ear, right ear? It's only when you don't hear the sound. Your attention is completely outside. And for practice, you want to hear any sound. And breathing was also used as one sound, but it kept the attention a little lower. So you have to pull it up later, in higher, at the Agni Chakra or at the third eye center. Sound has been a principle. The real sound is only one and comes from the self as a third eye center in the center, not from any side. Till you hear that sound, you can hear any sound inside for practice. It will not lead you anywhere. It won't have any pull. It won't bring you toward yourself. Just for practice that we can hear a sound. If you can only hear a sound from the left ear and nowhere else, hear that sound to start with. Or just practice of listening to a sound. It does not mean that that sound is going to do anything for you. If you can hear sound from both sides, then listen to the right side and not the left. And why is that? Because we are operating with our mind in the physical brain. The brain itself is divided into the right and left lobes. And as you know, one lobe is intuitive, one lobe is reasoning. Reasoning lobe is called KAAL, negative, and the intuitive lobe is called positive, Dhyal. KAAL and Dhyal are a division of how the mind operates in the brain. And that is why the right side picks up the intuitive self, which is our own true self. So the two things that are happening, right side is recommended for that reason. It does not mean listening to right side will give you a knowledge of the self. You have to come to the center. I've met people who listening to the right sound for years and years, nothing happened. Their attention is on the right, not in the center at all. It doesn't help. When you divide it to left and right, it's only for the sake of practice. Both sides is practice. Great Master explained very clearly that the real sound comes from the center. These are for practice. But if you're hearing both sounds, listen to the right. And we are confusing and thinking the right side is the side that will give us some inner enlightenment. It doesn't. Right, left side doesn't give enlightenment. Middle side sound will give enlightenment. If you start listening to sounds, you will find you have a choice. Sound will start coming with meditation. The more you concentrate being in the head, the more your sounds can be heard, some far away, some nearby. These sounds which come from the right and left side look like they're coming from very near us. There is something very near, maybe in the head or very close. That sound is very dim. Like the bell is sounding very far away. It doesn't look like it's right here. You can't determine which side it is. You try to say, where's the bell, from this side? Maybe this side? No, up. It's surrounding you. It's very weak to start with because your attention is not there. As you gather more attention, that sound can become louder. You have a choice to put your attention on any sound you like. In good meditation, in practical meditation, you should play around, listening to one sound, another sound, and saying, which is the one that is pulling me, which is resembling the sound of the big bell. Also, when you hear the big bell, you'll first hear like a bell. Then the peal will increase, go longer. Then it'll only be the peal and no hit at all. So this is how change takes place in the sound. And that is a longer sound, which has no peal left, no hit left, is what will take you to the next level of awareness. So sound plays a very important role, but don't get confused. This was only a suggestion. If you can't hear any sound, only the left, you can begin from there, and it is not going to help you, but it will help you to start listening, and then when the middle sound comes, you'll be able to hear. But first both sounds will come, then shift over to the right. It's just because of the placing of our life force at this time in the brain functioning like that. So no worry about it. Just for practice, do that. Real sound will only be in the center.